What's going on there, Badger?
What's going on, bro?
Listen, I couldn't wait to get here this evening, man. Actually got here early, bro. Got here early.
I
I
mean,
look forward to I
it's
look
better.
forward to this time, man.
Yeah, it's better than being late, brother. And look, this is a great time of day for me too, as well, brother. I enjoy hanging out here with you and talking some good music and fights and everything in between.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now I thought about something you said yesterday. You were talking about all these old men coming back fighting. And I thought it was funny at first until I really started thinking about it. I'm like, this man's making sense. It's like every old man who used to be bad back in the day is coming back. It's just coming back. And I thought about something Joe Rogan said. Joe Rogan was talking about how there was a loophole in, I guess, the like between 2009 and 2012, where a lot of your older UFC fighters were able to take HGH, and they were coming back and they were whipping the young guys because they might have been 40, but their bodies were reacting like they were 23, 24 years old. But now they had all that experience to go with it. And they were just whipping them. And people started going, hey, there's something's wrong here. You know, we're training and we can't keep up with these guys who are 40 and we're at the top and we're in our 20s. And Joe Rogan was talking specifically about Mike Tyson coming back. And he said if they're going to test for that HGH, then you know he thinks that would be a good thing, because if not, and you take a Mike Tyson with all of the skill and the knowledge that he has now, and you put him back in that 24-year-old Tyson body, it might be a wrap for a lot of people, bro.
I mean, okay. So how can I say this? So on one hand, it makes pretty good sense what you're saying because you're a Manny Pacquiao um, denier, especially in this last fight with Keith Thurman. You're adamant in your thoughts about him probably being on some type of enhancement.
Okay, you said probably. Go ahead.
But at the same time, um, I don't think any of that helps your chin. You know, so yeah, Mike might get in there and he might could do something, But Mike still got to get hit, man. People keep listening. People keep dismissing that because he look good and he look in shape and he moving real fast. The punch resistance, man. People are not thinking about that, and we're so
Okay,
bad as a society. We want to watch old men fight.
but you keep going to the punch resistance. What Rogan is saying is these guys, when they were on the HGH, and was another supplement they were taking as well, it was almost as if they were able to take punches better then than they were in their 20s, bro. It does something to you. It doesn't.
Oh, okay,
It's almost like it takes you from Thor and turns you into Thanos almost.
okay, all right.
So
Well, I mean,
if he's able, I mean, if that, I'm not saying that's what Mike's taking. I'm not. I do say I do believe Pacquiao was doping, but I don't know. I haven't seen Mike fight. Mike looks like he's in incredible shape, but he doesn't look like he's in steroid shape. If you understand what I'm saying, he looks like an older guy who stayed in shape, and his body looks incredible for somebody his age. But it doesn't look, his body doesn't look like it did when he was 18, 20, 22. But with that HGH, if you remember Barry Bonds only, it just made his head grow bigger. But his body wise, he didn't look like he was a younger guy.
no, no. He looked like the old man at the gym that still go home and drink beer, and eat chicken late at night, but he can come in there and bench
Hit
press
the
and
ball
squat.
450 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And that's it. He just got that grown. They call it the grown man weight. That's just how he looks. You can't get that fountain of youth back. At the end of the day, look, all that sounds great. I don't think we should see these old people fight, man. We don't know what kind of damage this is going to
We're
cause,
gonna find
and
out.
we're so starved for it. Just think about this: If this whole thing hadn't happened with the pandemic and everything completely coming to a grind, this would not even be a subject of conversation.
But here's the thing, bro. We've always talked about stuff like that. As a people, as a culture, we have always said, you know what? I'd love to see Sugar Ray Robinson get in there against Muhammad Ali. I'm just saying, that's just stuff we've done. This is like a dream for barbershops because this is where most of this conversation took place. Ain't no way Ali could beat Tyson. Well, I mean, obviously not now, but you know what I'm saying? This gives people an opportunity to actually think, hey, this could happen. Unfortunately, that means Larry Holmes is going to come back because Larry Holmes came back once before when he shouldn't have. So
Eastern assassin,
he's to the
man.
assassin
Listen,
with the lift.
you gonna get off of Larry Holmes, man. You gotta get off of
Hey,
Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes had the best jab of all the heavyweights, man.
I don't know.
Larry Holmes had the best jab of the heavyweights, bro.
I don't know. He had
I've
a
seen
great
Larry
jab.
Holmes knock people out with a jab.
He had a great jab. But when you say the best jab, I don't know, a younger Ali. I guess that's where Holmes really learned it from because he was his sparring partner. Ali's jab was ridiculous, though. It was.
Yeah, but Ali wasn't hurting people like Larry Holmes with that jab, bro. It's
But
levels, bro.
yeah, I
Now Larry
give it to
Holmes was
you.
not as the he wasn't the complete fighter Ali was in that respect, but Larry had probably one of the best jabs of all the heavyweights,
Oh,
man.
I'm not gonna take that from him. I don't know if he had the best, but he did. He had one of the best jabs. And when you put me on the spot now, I'm trying to think who I used to think had a better jab than Holmes. I may have to acquiesce on this one. He might have won this one.
Appreciate it, appreciate it.
Wow. So what's going on in Badgerland?
Tony Stark, man, this is when he realized he was special.
Don't make me have to get off of here tonight and go turn that on.
Yeah, it's the first one. Everybody's seen the first Iron Man at least a million times, so it's the
I
first one.
saw it on my phone on an airline flight,
Oh yeah,
and I was so impressed. I it was amazing to me. It literally was amazing to me because I had come up with a character in my youth that
hmm
was just like Iron Man, except he could combine with four other characters like Voltron.
mm.
But he didn't know about him because those other characters were in planets, you know, opposite Earth but on a parallel. It,
Okay.
it was fully developed, bro. I wrote the script and everything, so I just didn't. I never thought I'd have the money to get it made.
See
So
there, you could have been getting these
I
type of
still
royalty
could,
checks, man.
still can, unless somebody steals it because I just was stupid enough to blurt it out on here. But I'm not done. I'm not done. Listen, people are still talking about your boy Joe, man. They're still talking about Joe's $100 million. Did you
Oh yeah, man, that's a thing.
were you ever able to find out how long his contract was?
No, but I did read some. I heard it on another show because you said 2 to 3 years, but I heard another show that was 3 years. But I did not do my due diligence to see if I could find that
Look,
from a reliable source. But that's what I heard.
Joe Rogan's making Tom Brady money.
It don't matter how long the deal is for. To be honest with you,
He's
it's the
making
first.
Tom
Yeah,
Brady money.
he broke the mold. Yeah, he
Yeah,
broke the mold.
without getting hurt doing it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, Joe Rogan from Fear Factor, stand up comedian. Now you're making $33.33 million a year, bro.
and if he's smart, he better leave California because they taking 40% of that off the top.
Oh, I'm sure his bank is not in California or his address that he does business with is not in California.
Okay,
Probably in Florida because there's no
or
state sales
Texas.
tax.
Yeah.
Or Texas. Yeah, that's true. Hey, I was just reflecting off of that interview last night, man.
Well, okay. What part?
Really, when Brandon was talking about having a fight with Charlo,
hmm
I thought about what he said, man. It is a reality, looking into just some different instances where one calming influence can change the character of another person. even for the brief time that they come together. And when he said, Charlo had really no trash talk for him, Jamal had no trash talk for him.
Right.
Um, he really wasn't paying attention to Jamel and the rest of the camp. But when he talked about there was no trash talking. They went in, did their thing, and they became friends afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says a lot about somebody's spirit, and he really seems to have a genuine spirit.
Yeah, he does. Well, as we wait for things to pick up, man. So I know you've been seeing social media kind of buzzing today with a whole bunch of foolishness, man. Um, I know you saw the brother get killed over in Minneapolis. What were your thoughts on that?
The one with the knee on the neck,
Yeah.
I think the police officer should be chained to his truck and drugged through the streets where people can shoot at him. To be perfectly honest with you, that was malicious, and you could take it to the point of just being an evil spirit because you knew what you were doing, and they didn't arrest him; they just fired him.
Four of them apparently.
But I mean, I'm talking about the one that really, not the one. I wasn't even talking about the ones that were mocking the crowd, talking about, see, kids, this is why you don't do drugs.
Yeah, all four of them got fired from what I read.
Yeah, but I mean, firing isn't enough. I mean, that's
No,
just
I agree. I was just pointing that out.
I- the man was foaming at the mouth after he kept telling you, was it 4 times that he couldn't breathe?
Yeah,
And then,
I only watched the video once, and I don't even think I watched it through its entirety.
I mean, he made the statement, they're going to kill me. And next thing you know, he's foaming at the mouth and got blood running from the nose, and he's dead. And now we get tied up in the system about, well, we got to find out if it's just cause. Yeah, we fired them, but we don't know if we should prosecute or press charges on them. Turn
None
the
of that,
tables and see what happens.
none of that makes any sense though. He was already subdued and cuffed, so he was no longer a
Right.
threat.
Right. Kind of like Eric, was it Eric Garner in Baltimore?
No, that was Freddie Gray.
Freddie Gray, I'm sorry, Freddie Gray.
Yeah,
I mean, bro, it's going to come a time when it's going to be time to stop reacting like we've been schooled to do. We've been trained since the fields to react. But we wouldn't have been the greatest civilization on the planet if we had not acted for thousands of years and not waited for the reaction. And that's my grandmother used to say it. My mom used to say it. That's the greatest weakness a lot of times of our people now is we react. And when we react, we can be coerced into doing things that aren't to the best of our ability because we're doing it out of frustration, anger, and fear. But if we come together and we act, then we're not doing it out of frustration, anger, and fear purely. We actually have a plan of attack, a plan of action. And that could be legal, that could be social, that could be physical. But eventually it looks like it's coming to that. And just like the woman today, was it today in the dog park or in the park? Not the dog park. There was a guy in the park, a bird watcher, taking photos, and he asked her to please chain up your or put a leash on your dog.
yeah,
So what
some
she
to that
do?
effect. Yeah.
She calls the cops and says that he was trying to rape her.
Listen, bro, don't get me started on that. I didn't watch the entire video. Again, I just, for me, I just get tired of seeing it because it's the same old thing. So
Yeah.
I don't really watch them anymore. But something to that effect. When I read up on what had happened, that seemed to be the case. She called the police and said that he was either being physical with her or she was scared for her life. Something along those lines. Those code words that they use whenever they execute, um, when they execute us. So what was sad about that was that's the very same reason why we end up dead
Mm-hmm.
because they use those type of code speak that type of word those type of words and then they turned around to give them legality and taking our lives, and that's crazy, man. And more importantly than that, what it also points out is why black mothers always feared their black sons dating white girls.
Yeah.
Because throughout history, it's happened so many times where they've called rape, they've called this, they've called that, and we've been killed for it. So all these things kind of come full circle, man. But it was a crazy cycle today. I'll tell you that.
Listen, I, my mom did not hide things from me growing up, as yours did not either. They were very straight with us. Um, when I there was a girl that liked me, white girl that liked me, when I lived in Hernando County, and my mom reminded me of a case in the '60s in Maryland, because Maryland, I think, was the last state to stop hanging people. Um, the young lady claimed that these two brothers, not just brothers, but they were actually related, these two brothers raped her. And everybody knew they were innocent, but the trial took no time and they hung them. And then she was out in California a couple years later and did the same thing. Well, California actually investigated and found out that she falsely accused them. And in the news, she was quoted as saying, "Well, that's okay. I got two in Maryland." And it's amazing how that is one of the quickest ways to, and I know this isn't a political news show, but how the quickest ways to get us jailed or killed is to cry rape. Yet, when a African American or black female has been raped by a white male in this country, he has never been convicted. Never been convicted.
Well, they just got one, that police officer out in Oklahoma. Remember him? Like a couple years ago, the young police officer, he was raping these girls. He had raped like I don't know how many girls, man. Like they were either prostitutes or girls that
Yes.
were out, or just women
Yes.
he pull over and give tickets and stuff. This dude was
Yes.
nuts. I think it was
Yes.
like 26 girls or some crazy number like that. I was like,
But
bro,
were they all African American?
that I don't know, but I think the majority of them were. At least the ones I saw that were interviewed that came out and spoke out about it. They were
I
black.
need to I need to look at I remember what you're talking about, but I need to look it up and see which ones he was convicted on.
Yeah.
Because he'd be the first in this country's history. He would be the first. And
Cause
that's sad.
that kid at Stanford that raped that girl behind that dumpster. Now I don't think the young lady was black. I think she was another white. I think she was a white girl, if I'm not mistaken. But even with him, even in the case with that, where it's just the wealth that buys you privilege, right? He
Hmm.
did it. He was caught red-handed. They turned him in, and he got off with probation.
I'm from right outside of Baltimore. Spent a lot of time, a lot of big part of my life in Baltimore City. If they found, they, I put it this way, that's where the mentality of Carl Lee came from.
Mm,
We don't trust the law. Again, the system cannot fail you that was never designed to protect you. So we know you're not going to be found guilty. So we're going to exact our own brand of justice. And I would tell you to your face this day, if that happened to my daughter, you better hope the cops catch you. We're going to have some fun. Hey, preacher or not, we're going to have some fun because I know the law is not going to exact any justice on you. My bad, man. But that's just the reality.
yeah, it's crazy, man. And I'm sure most fathers would feel like you, bro. I mean, well, they should.
They should. Yeah.
They should. They don't get a pass for that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Listen, I caught some heat on what I said about AEW gaining on WWE.
Okay, yeah.
I just got some heat on that.
I mean, I listen. I'm not well versed in that sector, but it seemed like he was taking a that was a stretch. That was a leap.
It
So,
was, but this person, I let them know because I know they have WWE their app.
mm,
So I directed them on social media. Go back and look at when this whole COVID really jumped off, and they had to go dark with their matches right at WrestleMania, and look forward. And I said, you tell me if anybody was in the stands, how boring it sounded, how hollow it sounded. And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that because WWE now is copying what AEW did, and they putting wrestlers and backstage crew and whatever in the stands to make it sound like at least they have an audience." And I look, I can defend my point. I know better than to bring something on here with you and not be able to defend my point.
Right.
So when I put it out there, just know I've thought about this a little bit, just a tiny bit, bro.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Listen,
Go ahead.
before we go to a different subject, listen, what is going on? Well, I should rephrase that. As we transition to a different subject, what is going on with the zone, man? So Eddie Hearn losing money now? Is that what the allegation is?
Well, when's the last fight you saw them put out? And they got the perfect platform.
No, word is that they out looking for loans. They out trying to get people to buy in because apparently they going broke. Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about just the no, the
Oh,
zone, the whole organization, bro. From the sounds
what
of it,
about the billionaire he had behind it? The
man.
trillionaire, the prince, the
Well, I don't think the prince was actually invested in the zone. I think he was just trying to bring fights to Saudi Arabia. I don't think he was actually
oh,
part of
okay.
the zone whole family there. But yeah, that's the road in the street. I seen a couple articles floating around about it today, and he's pretty much saying that they gave fighters too much money up front.
Like Canelo.
I don't know, but they say the zone's struggling, man.
Listen, it, as much as I used to say, man, I ain't gonna buy the zone. I thought the zone was a perfect little outlet. I really did. I thought it was gonna be able to compete with the other big organizations simply because, or the other networks simply because it was strictly online.
Right.
And being strictly online, it's gonna sound crazy till you think it through. You got a lot less overhead. You're not paying a network for their space.
This is true, but keep in mind, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I get what you're saying. They were definitely trending in the right direction. And now that all this has happened, you would think that they would be on top, kind of like the whole joke about Skype, right? How'd you be prepared for 10 years and then in a matter of weeks, Zoom just completely run you out of the building? So it's kind of like the same thing. So it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't put too much stock in a lot of these articles because right now everybody's just out for headlines and clicks and
Right.
clickbait. But for him to come out and say that he feel like they paid too many fighters too early and that's a recipe for disaster, kind of hints at that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Um, it does. I wouldn't, man. Only thing that really makes me think that may be a reality, and I could not understand why the zone had subscribers. They had people who were paying monthly. They were used to getting these fights.
Right,
Why don't you throw some dark fights out there? You already have the money coming in from your subscribers.
right,
Just throw together some dark fights. Canada would have let you do it. Saudi Arabia would let you do it. I mean, there were ways around it. Look at Dana White. Dana didn't stop. Look at WWE and AEW. They didn't stop. They carved out their own niche in sections of Florida. That's what the zone needed to do. The zone, they could have come to Tampa.
right.
I mean, it's just, to me, it's lack of thinking outside the box, sitting on your laurels and thinking this thing ain't gonna last long. Instead of being forward thinking, jumping ahead of your competition and knocking this thing out the park. That's just the way I'm thinking. But you know, I'm your lackey, so who's gonna listen to me?
Nah, you good, bro. I just, but I think that people get put in situations or businesses get put in situations where they have to rethink about their structure or the direction they're headed in because something causes a shift. Very few companies are able to see what's going on and pivot. That's why the execs and the boards get paid the money they get paid, right? They get paid to kind of try to chart those waters. The zone probably never really had those kind of people in there, right? They just had to say, hey, this is a good idea, let's run with it. Not thinking, hey, We need to be constantly looking at this platform, morphing it and changing it in the way we do business so that we can always stay ahead. If they
Right,
flounder now, they will definitely be the Skype right now. They will definitely be
right.
Skype. They can't let that happen.
They're letting it happen from what it looks like on the outside. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. They got to pivot, make a shift, and really drop something that's going to be incredible. Hey, to all y'all who took offense to the joke I told last night, because I should not have told a joke about the Navy on Memorial Day, get
Wow.
over yourselves. It wasn't to poke fun at the military. So I'm not going to
You got
apologize for telling the joke, but
I
what?
mean, you got to be more careful, bro. Like they coming for you, man. You already know. The more people tune in, the more eyes on the show, man. People are not gonna be so inclined to all your jokes. So you got tough skin. You're a preacher.
Yeah, I'm not.
They don't always buy what you sell.
And I had tough skin before I got into that. So I'm good with it. I was an atheist before I got into that. So good. One day, when they write the movie of my life, I hope I'm not so old Morgan Freeman has to play me. I was hoping that they can start at the Denzel age, but by the time I get the movie written, he gonna be Morgan Freeman's age. So that ain't gonna work. Darn, I don't even know anybody out there I'd want to play me. Maybe y'all can comment.
Bruce
Let me
Bruce.
know. Really? Bruce? Really?
I mean, Lavelle
No.
Crawford done lost a lot of weight, bro. You seen Lavelle Crawford?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. He's in that mid stage where you look kind of like an alien. It's but he looks good because Lavelle
Yeah, he,
so he looks good now. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. He does. Hey, so there was a time in life where my grandfather thought my grandmother was cheating. So he decided he was going to figure this out and find out for sure. So he had word that she was going to Miss Lucy Pearl's after he would go to work or go fishing. Because in the summer, they were both teachers, so they were off in the summer. So he waited. They always going to Las Vegas for July 4th. This is the truth. Every year they went to Las Vegas with my Aunt Lucy and Uncle Joe. So before they took their trip, he decided, I'm gonna catch this woman. I'm gonna catch her. I know she's cheating. So he decided to call a cab, and he had the cab meet him 4 blocks from the house. So he got in his car and drove like he was going down to go fishing. And he parked and he walked to where he told the cab driver to meet him. Cab driver was waiting on him. Cab driver said, Mr. Jones, what's going on? He said, I need you to take me to Lucy Pearl's house. He said, oh, the missus out of town? He said, no, I think the missus is cheating. So cab driver said, no, not Miss Jones. No, she taught me in the 6th grade. Now my grandmother taught special education. So dude was probably about 18 years old in the 6th grade. But that. So he says, I'm telling you, she's cheating, and I'm gonna find out. Take me to Lucy Pearl's. So they drove over to Lucy Pearl's house, and I'll be darned if they didn't see a car that looked like my grandmother's car. Now it looked like my grandmother's car. He couldn't tell exactly if it was. So he said, you know what I want you to do? I want you to go in there. Cab driver said, Mr. Jones, you want me? He said, I want you to go in there. Come here. He said, I have, see, Siri's trying to tell on me. I have a sack. I want you to walk in there. When you see my wife, you throw this sack over her head and you take this twine and you tie her feet and you bring her over your shoulder out of Lucy Pearl's house. And I'm going to be standing by the trunk. You drop her in the trunk, and then I'm going to pull the sack off of her and I'm gonna be able to prove that this woman's cheating. So the cab driver said, "That's a lot of directions, Mr. Jones." He said, "Look, I know you can handle it, hotshot. I know you can handle it." So he said, "All right, we can do this." I said, "Okay." Cab driver ran in the house. You heard some kicking and screaming and dishes breaking and stuff falling over. All of a sudden, he comes out with this woman over his shoulder in a sack and drops it in the trunk. So my grandfather rips the sack off and says, "Aha!" He says, "Wait a minute, this ain't my wife." Cab driver said, "No, that's mine. I got to go back in for yours." Bro, hold on. I heard a doorbell. I think we have a guest waiting to come in. Yes. I'm gonna get the screens rearranged. What you mean? Hold on.
Yeah.
Champ, it's good to see you. Champ, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's good to have you on here, man.
It's good to be here. How you doing?
Doing well. Give me a second. I'm trying to get us arranged properly on here. You go with that, Badger? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who may not know, we have Chi-Town's finest. He's more famous than a deep dish pizza and Illuminati's. He's got more swag than Walter Payton had when he won the ring. He is, did we lose him? Champ, you still there?
Nah. Yeah, I'm still here.
You can-
Okay, we
I'm trying
lost
to.
your picture.
I don't know what happened. Oh, yeah.
Well, we got
It was
Mr.
that bad
Kenneth.
intro.
It was that bad intro. Whatever. Don't hate. We got Mr. Kenneth, Boss Man, Sims Jr. Welcome to the
Hey,
show,
boy.
Boss Man.
Hey,
How you doing,
Look,
champ?
I'm good. I'm good.
you ain't hear that
Just
bad story
trying
I
to.
told, did you?
Nah, I heard. I got in the end. I don't really. I didn't even catch what it was about.
Yeah, good. You good for you. I'm glad you missed it, brother.
Really?
Yeah, that was terrible. So
Because
how
he's
the
a
so how the quarantine treating you up there in Chi-Town, man?
I mean, I'm chilling for real. I've been running, working out in the backyard. That's about it.
Okay.
Making sure I stay in some shape.
Oh
you
yeah,
got
cause
a
that phone call to pop up on you. Gotta be ready.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
know.
got a
I'm gonna
yard
make
in
it fun.
Chicago?
Yeah, I got a yard, man.
Okay.
Got a driveway in the backyard.
So what you up near Evanston or
Nah, that ain't Chicago. I stay on the south side. But I'm from Inglewood.
oh, okay. I
Yeah,
think every city got an Inglewood somewhere.
it's with a
Yeah.
it's Inglewood with an E here.
No, okay.
Got you. Got you.
So listen,
Hey,
champ, man. Let's just jump right into it, man. So I'm gonna come out and ask you because I honestly want to know what was it like being followed around for 9 years. Now, before you answer, let me just give some context to the listeners. You are part of a 9 year documentary, brother. That's now gonna be airing on
Yeah.
Showtime next week or 2 weeks from now, on June 12th.
Mhm.
And this took 9 years to make. Can you just give us a little bit of insight on what that must have been like?
I mean, for the most part, because they came, I was about 14 years old, and at first it was like it wasn't even gonna be like a feature documentary. It was gonna be like a little short film, no big deal. But they made the short film, and it was just me. And like my friend, my homie Destiny, he in the documentary with me. But when they made the short film, like at the beginning, it was just me by myself. They came to school when I was a kid and stuff. Mm. People started seeing the short film, and then they got like funding. They told me they got funding, producers, and people putting money behind it, and they just gonna make it like a feature length film. So that's how it started. But as far as them following me, like when I was young, like you would see when I was younger, I didn't like I didn't like talking to people. I ain't like talking to people. If I didn't know you, I didn't want to talk to you. So in the beginning, like you would see in the film, like you would see me like slowly open up. Or but like in the beginning, they couldn't get it. They got two words out of me at a time. Like, come on. But it was them following me. I mean, I got a little annoyed at times. Like sometimes I just be like, all right, that's it, leave it alone.
Right.
Like before fights, sometimes they'll be there, especially like when I turn pro. Before fights, they'll be there, and I just be like, all right, that's enough for the time to lock in. Just get it together. I can't. Y'all gotta move around for a minute. But
So, what drew them to you? What was the message they were trying to get out with this documentary?
it was really that me and my dad were in it together really. So like the short film is called Father's Prayer. So that's the
Okay.
name of the short film. So it's basically like in the documentary, like it's me and my dad, and Destiny and his dad. So yeah, me and Destiny we've known each other since we were like 8 or 9 years old.
Okay.
So we grew up together. So the documentary is his dad and him, my dad and me. And they just show like how like the differences, how our dads were to us, and just everything leading up into where we are now. So the premise of the documentary really is like the director said he read a book because he's from Germany. The director,
Right.
everybody,
Right.
he's from Germany. So he said he read a book about Chicago boxing, and it was like some stuff in there about fathers being like a big part of their kids' lives and boxing. Like the Otter boxer, Shane Mosley, his dad, Trinidad, his dad,
Right.
Floyd, his dad. Like,
Right. Right.
and he read up on that a lot. So that's what inspired him to like he told me he went around Chicago looking for father son duos in all the gyms. When he came to see us, he caught his attention on his work because he just popped up at the gym one day when I was out of school. And I walked in the gym and he was just like this white dude right there. And he was like, they want to do a documentary on us, blah, blah, blah. And like
Wow.
I said, I was quiet. I was like, okay. Like I didn't even know it was gonna be
Right.
like a real movie. I
Right.
thought it was just like a little like you know how people would make
Right.
small
Some for
like
YouTube and some for social media.
yeah, that's how I thought it was gonna be. But it's like some of the producers are the same producers as I know y'all heard of Hoop Dreams.
Yeah.
Yes.
The document, yeah, it's some of the same producers from Hoop Dreams. That's worked on this.
Okay.
Awesome. Now, I was looking back at your career, and it says you're a nine-time amateur national champion.
Yeah, I mean since the time I was let me see, time I was 12, I ranked the top 3 or 4 in the country. I'm not,
That's amazing, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. That's a hell of a amateur record, champ.
yeah, because I mean, a lot of times, like when I was a kid, I win every now and then, like nationals, but I always end up the third, fourth. Sometimes it's when I like made the jump from the kids to men's. That's when I start like winning the tournaments, coming and being number one.
So before we get into the fights in your pro career, to put it into
Yeah,
context with people, can you tell me about some of the guys that you came up with in amateur? Because you came up in a deep era, man. That whole class, 1 or 2 years ahead
yeah.
of you and 1 or 2 years behind you, was pretty deep.
I mean, yeah. I fought at the Olympic trials. I lost to the unified 140 champ right now, Jose Ramirez. I lost to him by 1 point. It was 23 to 24. I remember that like yesterday.
Wow. Okay.
You probably know Albert Bill. He fought at 130. That's like one of my best friends now.
Prince
We talk
Albert
each
Bell
other.
from Ohio.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like one of my best friends now. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we talk like every other day, every day almost.
That's what's up.
Fought him. I fought Eric De Leon. I fought a lot of people actually. Jamonte Clark. I mean, let me see. Yeah, matter of fact, I just say this: at the Olympic trials, this was my weight class. Everybody, there was 8 of us. It was me, Jose Ramirez, Toka Khan Clary, Neil Williams, Damon Allen. There's this kid
wow.
named Luis Cruz, and there was one more kid. I can't really remember his name, but there's a lot of us. Trying to think who else I fought in amateurs. Can't even remember. I had like 200 fights. I can't.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
lot.
that's a lot of fights.
Man. So was it a foregone conclusion that you were going to go pro, or did you consider doing something else because you had so many amateur fights? Champ, could you hear me?
I don't think I think you went out. Can you hear me, Champ?
You
Champ,
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
n-
you.
can you hear us?
You hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Did sound go out?
Yeah, I heard you was
Uh,
breaking up a little bit, but I heard you.
Oh, you heard it?
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
when you finish your amateur
So,
career,
and I was just, it was skipping a little bit.
oh,
Oh, okay.
okay. So when you finished your amateur career, having so many amateur fights, did it cross your mind to do anything else, or was it just a foregone conclusion that you were going to turn pro?
I mean, at that time, it was like a foregone conclusion, but like, okay, so when I started boxing, I just like it. Like, I really hate it. My dad, my dad made me do it because he came up to school one day and I was like, I used to be super small. I was in like fifth, sixth grade. He seen how small I was. Like, he just like, you just learn how to fight. You can quit once you learn.
Is it
But
true that he said you could quit once you get good at it?
yeah, he said I could quit once I got good. At that point, I ain't quit.
You see how that worked out, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, up until the point like, because I won my first men's tournament, like, because the age was 17 to 34. But I was 16 when I won my first one because it was a Olympics. They let me fight early. So I won that, and that's when I was like, okay, maybe I'm like real good at this, and I can make a life out of it. But remember, I told you like when I was younger, I'd always come like third, win every now and then, come in third. But once I won the men's tournament, that's when I was like, okay, maybe you can do something with it.
Okay. Now, Champ, right now you campaign at 147. Is that correct?
140. The last fight was just at 47
140?
because dude,
Oh, okay.
yeah, last fight was at 47 because dude came in super heavy.
Okay. So 140 is your weight class.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, that's
140.
what you okay. Cause I watched you fight about a year ago on Showbox against Montana. And I know that you
Yeah,
guys had, somewhat of a history as far as, coming up together and everything. And that fight
yeah,
ended in a draw. Um, you went on social media and you kind of said you feel like you won the fight, but you can understand the judges scoring. Um, how much more have you improved since that fight, champ?
oh, a lot. I mean, I got a new trainer now. It's not that like when I was the training switch is like. I mean, I still work with my dad. Like when I'm at home, I still work with my dad. But I just work with Coach K Karoma now, and it's just like a boost for me, really, just being around other people that's trying to do the same thing as me. Because when I was home, I was just in the gym by myself, and then it was kids.
Right.
But when I'm working now I'm with K, I get to like watch other people while they working, like the top level people,
Right,
like
because I mean he has Jerry
Jerry
Hurd,
Hurd,
Michaela Mayer,
Shakur, all of them.
Shakur. Okay,
And he
wow.
got like
So yeah,
the top in the chest. Keyshawn Davis, Troy Pro, Troy Isley. So yeah, just being able to train beside them, watching. I can learn stuff even when I ain't like train myself. I get to watch. I just learn and listen to what Kay telling them while they train and just put it in my head. Then I need to do the same thing. Even just like being around being around like Coach K, I know, Colorado, we train in Colorado a lot. Bud Crawford, he trains out there. So I'm just around him a lot, around Jerry a lot. And it's just not just so and it gives me like a more motivation because I mean they where I want to be. So, but as far as
Right.
like that proof point, it's like I'm more I'm more comfortable in the ring. Like I'm working with Kay, I'm more comfortable. He made like for the first couple months, all we did was work on me sitting down on my punches and making sure I'm close fist, turning things over, just over and over and over and over again. So I feel like I got way a lot stronger since I've been training with Coach K. I'm hitting a lot harder. So
yeah.
that was the main focus of us. Like
I was going to ask you about that because I was looking at some of your amateur fights, and you always had just outstanding speed, and able to be elusive and and hit people, and turn them. And but I was looking at that, and it didn't seem like you really sat down on your punches much. I guess you didn't feel like you had to at that time. Champ, are you able to hear me?
Oh, it's buffering again, I think.
Okay.
I froze.
Champ, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. It froze when you got the end of your end of
Okay.
the time.
I listening to what you were
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
about sitting down in your punches. That's what I was saying.
It was yeah. Uh,
I,
I mean, like when I first started with Coach K, he was just like, "We're gonna slow down," because he's always me like I'm trying to get my punches out and back to my face as fast as possible. So he's like, "Gonna slow you down. You ain't gotta throw as many punches. The right punches in place." So we worked on that for like the whole year. And then like a couple of months ago, like recently, he started telling me like, "I see it, getting there. That's what we want. We want it to look like that." So basically, he slowed me down, speed me up.
That makes sense. Um, what was it like getting in sparring with Linares and Pacquiao? Were you able to pick up some nuggets from sparring with those guys?
Uh, I mean, I don't know about. Let me see. Honestly, and really, I learned some stuff. I learned something every time. I mean, whether it's just be technical stuff or something about myself. So I guess you could say like sparring with them, I learned stuff about myself.
Okay.
Like the honestly the best person I've ever been in the ring is Bud. Every time I spar with him, I learn something. And like he said, like once we finished, he pulled me to the side and he tell me some stuff.
Yeah,
Working with Bud is where I
Bud
like.
is a bad boy.
Yeah, working with him is like I pick up a lot of stuff.
so being in that 140 division, what did it feel like to the guys who were still there when Bud decided to go to 47?
Uh, I don't know really. I wasn't. I was like I'm trying to think how long ago that was. Maybe
That's what.
About 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't. For me, I wasn't really like thinking about it because I still was working out my way. So I was like, okay, that's my man's anyway. So
So
I'm
that's
just
your
trying
man.
to take over another division.
So do you think he can do it? Now, be honest. Now you know all them killers up there now. Bud ain't. I mean,
Yeah,
he did beat Jeff Horn,
I mean,
but we
it's still,
haven't seen him. We
I
haven't
mean, the
seen him
killer,
with the top dogs.
I mean,
So
the killer's up there. He a killer, so he a killer. I mean, the only, I mean, the only thing I want to see is him and Earl or EJ. I mean, that's both of them cool. Like I know both of them. Bro. Anytime somebody asks me about that, I don't really say nothing. I just be like, whoever wins, gonna win.
so
'Cause I go,
you think Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, you think all that's baby food? You think he'll run through all three of those guys? No problem.
Yeah, I think Bud call him. Yeah, I think Bud could call him.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot, bro. I think
I feel like, now go ahead, go ahead. Yeah,
no. I mean, I feel like if he's able to get EJ, um, then that makes his run a little easier at the other, collecting the rest of the belts, cleaning out the division. But I don't think Thurman's gonna be a walk in the park.
I ain't saying it's all the work and both of them, but I just think Bud able to adjust so so good. Like he just switch game in the middle of the fight
Yeah.
Yeah.
and get his head by. That's what I just That's gonna be a big deal. We're fighting any of them.
So with you having, with you being around the game for so long and knowing a lot of these fighters personally outside of the ring, who do you feel is going to be the next big thing in boxing, and in what weight class? So we could talk
That
68, 60, 54, 47, 40. Outside of you, obviously, who do you think is going to be
Shakur,
that next guy to be like, whoa, where did
Shakur.
he come from?
That's right. Answer that quick. Shakur, Shakur season.
Wow.
Hey, they saying
That
Shakur
was
a
an
bad
easy
boy,
answer.
man.
I mean, I knew that since he was 14 when I met him. First time I seen him, he was 14.
He
I knew
was
that.
special.
Yeah, I knew that when he was 14 as soon as I seen
Wow. Well, since you answered
him.
that
Yeah,
quickly,
I swear.
anybody else?
First time I seen him spar, I knew.
High
And
Okay.
praises, man.
Coach K got killers coming up. So like Keyshawn still amateur, but
Right.
he keeps on amateur, but not amateur. So him too. Like once he turn pro, it's gonna be quick. He
Okay.
gonna get up there quick.
All right. Well, hey, man, you heard it from the man. He said Shakur Stevenson gonna be that next dude. I like
Yeah.
Shakur though. I really
Yeah.
like Shakur. He got, he's grown up a
Like
lot.
you ain't, yeah, y'all ain't seen it yet, but Shakur got that dog in it too.
Well, I mean, you know what's
Y'all
funny
ain't
about
seen
that
it.
champ? Like
Seen
I can,
he ain't had to show it.
you know what's funny though? I can see it in his eyes though. You know how
Yeah,
you
he
can
got
look
it.
at a guy and you can see it because Terrence Crawford has it. You know who else got it?
Yeah,
Andre Ward got it. You can look at a dude's
he
eyes and
got
tell
it.
that, hey man, this ain't what you think it's gonna be. Like it's really gonna be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see it in him. I can see that in Shakur.
So besides Shakur, who do you think would be the next one? Number two on your list.
that's pro right now.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Uh,
it can be any weight class.
I think throw some names out there.
You got Devin Haney, you got Teofimo Lopez, you got Tank. Even though Tank already got a belt, you got Tank. Um, you got the kid Madrimov, you got Lubin, you got General Ennis, you got Mario Barrios. You know what I'm saying? You got a couple of guys that's coming up. Caleb Plant, even though
The
he already got a belt, he's still kind of moving up.
Boots a killer too. He right there. Probably Shakur and Boots a killer.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been hearing some big good things about Jerron Ennis. I actually saw him fight a couple years ago on Showbox. He fought a kid from on the outside down in Key West, and he destroyed him. And we had been watching this kid at club shows, move around the state of Florida, whooping
Oh,
dudes.
he was undefeated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Amando
that's the same card
Alvarez.
when I fought Montana. When I fought
Right,
Montana, the same
exactly.
card.
The same card. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, this might be a good scrap. But I was like, man, this kid Boots, he seems special, bruh.
Yeah, yeah,
Man,
he's special.
okay.
I was looking at the fight you had with Montana, and forgive me,
Mhm.
sometimes my ignorant side comes out. Um, how do you really get up to fight somebody named Montana Love?
I knew
Because
Montana was like 12. So,
okay, that's why. Because I'm like, that sounds like somebody, kind of working on a pole or something like that. I mean, Montana Love is
yeah, I
not.
mean, we fought when we was 14, so I knew already. Like I knew him since we was kids.
Yeah. So switching gears, champ, man. So you're a kid come on the south side of Chicago, and you know that Chicago has this real bad rap that the media has created around around the country. So can you give us a little bit of insight on what Chicago was like for you growing up?
For me, I mean, for me, really, I grew up in the hood, but like I don't treat it that way. Like I treat it that way, but I don't really put myself in situations where I gotta deal with. Like I hang out with like everything, just like the regular people, but I don't put myself in situations where I gotta worry about that type of stuff. Like I think it's just like the crowd you keep. Sometimes, sometimes it's just random people, innocent people get caught up in stuff that that hit like bullets weren't meant for them. Like, I just feel like Chicago is like any other place. It's just like a microscope. There's like a microscope on it right now. So, like, say some of the same stuff could happen anywhere else, but it'll happen in Chicago. It's gonna be national news. But it happens somewhere else. Don't nobody even know about it.
Listen, I love Chicago. I I really do. I've been there several times. I actually tried to move there in
Man,
1999.
Chicago, that city.
Listen, I went and helped my mom move up to Maryland, move up to DC. Actually, it was right in Southern Maryland, and I got on a train at Union Station, and I rode out to Chicago, and I had talked to this hotel, and I said, "Hey, do you guys rent by the week or by the month?" And they said yes. It was right across from the bus station. So when I got into the train station, had to take a cab over to the bus station. Now this is true, Badger. I had to take a cab over to the bus station. I talked to them 3 days before I left to come out there. Bro, when I got out the cab and walked up to the hotel, even the desk was gone. They closed down. I was like, y'all are killing me. And so I went downtown. I figured I'd go to the Harold Washington Library and I could try to look and find some other places to stay. Why, when I got on the subway and got downtown, was there a blackout? I was like, and it's August. So you know it was hot. So I,
1 minute for you
I
to move there, I guess.
listen, I talked to a friend of mine who was staying out there, and she said, well, I know a place. They dropped me off at the Hotel Eleanor. And yeah, I got on a plane the next day and flew back to Maryland because I was like, this ain't gonna work. I tried my best to move there, bro. I
Now,
did.
Yeah,
Chicago is dope,
Chicago.
man. So, what's the music scene looking like in Chicago, man? Y'all had it on lock for a little while. You know, you got your Dirks and all those guys coming out. What local guys we need to keep an eye out for, man, and who you listen to when you train?
I mean, Chicago's still hot. They got Polo G getting lighting stuff up right now. They're a young kid. He's from Chicago, Polo G. Me, I listen. I'm like a music connoisseur for real.
Are you? Okay, let's hear it.
I listen to, I listen when I'm working out. I listen to a lot of Gunna, a lot of Baby, Future, of course, uh, G Herbo, Lil Herb. That's what I call it. Listen
Okay.
to him. There's a lot of Gunna in my workout though.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, you name,
Jay Z my favorite. Jay Z my favorite rapper all time though.
Really?
bruh, really coming from Chicago, Jay Z,
Really?
your man.
Jay Z?
Ah,
He did great all the time.
yeah.
The
He
greatest of all time.
greatest, yo. Jay
All
Z
right.
the greatest.
I'm gonna let you have that one. Now, if you could have anybody write your theme song to come out and perform it as you walk out, who would it be? Besides, I guess you're gonna say Jay Z.
Right now, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, Jay Z. If Jay Z walk anybody else gonna be crazy, no matter what song he do. But
Well,
right now, maybe Future. He gonna give me hype.
Um,
yeah.
a lot of those rappers you named, I'm familiar with them. They're a little bit younger, but I'm familiar with them. One guy that I liked, I think he only came out with a couple projects, but one guy I liked for Chicago was Lil Bibby. I actually like
I
Bibby
went to school
project.
with him. I was at school with him for 2 years.
You went to school with? Oh, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I was actually a
Yeah,
fan of one of his
he
first
went to
projects.
high school with me for 2 years.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So, can you talk about your relationship with Ed Brown a little bit? Because we know that Ed Brown was tapped to be one of the he was one of the biggest prospects coming out around that time, moving up. And for
Yeah.
for the world to lose him so suddenly, so tragically, man. Can you talk about what that meant to you? and the boxing community there in Chicago?
I mean, yeah, that crushed me for real. Yeah, it was like it ain't no like it was my brother because like I swear anytime I introduce him to anybody, I say this my big brother. When he introduced me to anybody, he never said this my only this my friend. He said this my little brother. So like yeah, we grew up together. Like and I looked up to him my whole life. It was like I don't look up to a lot of people. So it was like one of the only people I ever looked up to in my life because he was always around me. He called mom his mom. He called my dad his dad. He'd like come stay at my house for whole months. You know, like
Wow.
summertime when he at my house, sleeping in my house, going out of town with my family. He was my family. Like, but, so when that happened, it was like, I so he had got shot before, but like, so I got a text. It was like 3 in the morning. They said he got shot. I ain't even like I wasn't even woke. Like I just like I thought I was dreaming for real. So I went back to sleep and I woke up. My phone was blowing up. So I'm like, it was hurting. Like I ain't cried nothing because I'm like, alright, he had been through some shit like this before. He'll be alright. We'll go through it. Then I remember where I was at. Driving. I was driving to my girlfriend's house. Uh, I seen his manager Mike had posted like he didn't make it, and I had to just like pull over. I had to let her drive because like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I had talked to him like 2 days ago. At five, me and Ed, we used to like we ain't trained, we ain't had the same coaching, but like me and him, we would just call each other and be like, hey, you trying to go run? And we'd just beat up, go run. Cause like, we don't train together, we ain't around each other as much as we used to, so we would find time and do some stuff together. Just go run. We don't do it, but we both need to do that anyway, so we'll do that. But yeah, it happened. I was like, you can see, matter of fact, like, remember we brought up the fight at, when I fought Robles. That was like right after it, a couple of weeks after it passed. If you watch it at the end when they raised my hand, I couldn't crack no kind of smile. I couldn't react about nothing. Like my brother wasn't there. Like, and I had talked to him and he was like, he's gonna be there. He might fight on the card. So I'm thinking like, damn, he's supposed to be here. He's supposed to be there. Like, so we watched that fight at the end. I couldn't crack no kind of smile. I couldn't be happy about it. Like he not here. Like, that ain't my friend. That's my brother. That's blood.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't mean to bring it up in that regard because I knew you guys are close, but I didn't know how close. Yeah.
Nah,
But I
that's
think.
yeah. If anybody that was like at tournaments, and they see us together, they all like people thought my dad was his dad. Like, you know, they was nothing alike. They just thought my dad was his dad. They thought we was like blood brothers, like real brothers.
Wow. Wow.
So, are you, champ? Are you? This is gonna be a crazy question, but are you excited about this film that's getting ready to air? That's ready to come out?
Yeah, I'm excited. I just my girlfriend tells me this all the time. I don't know how to be excited about stuff because
That's all right. That's
I
all
don't know.
right.
I try to stay right here
Even kill.
because I don't
Yeah.
want to be I don't want to be too excited. So I don't really get excited until stuff like right there. It's like
Right.
happen.
Gotcha, gotcha. I mean, but who knows, man? I mean, people taking a look at you. They may want you to
Yeah.
go into acting.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to do something about like that. I've been talking to the producers of the documentary, telling them I want to give it a try.
Hey, ain't no wrong with it, champ. Get in there,
Nah,
man. Try to make that happen, bro. You're gonna need that extra bread one
Yeah.
day. You can't box forever. So that
Yeah.
might
I
be a
told
second
them for
job.
sure. Like, I want to get that.
listen, if 50 can
I
do it, you can
definitely
do it.
bring it up to them.
And we
I
You
gotta
got
definitely
to.
bring it up to them. I was serious about it.
Yeah, well, just keep tapping on him. He'll give you a shot. I mean,
And
listen,
if
Yeah,
you finna bring a lot of attention to him, man, because a lot of people are anticipating this. I know I am. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I don't really know what to make of it, but after talking to you and doing the research, I'm really anxious. So,
yeah.
maybe once it
Appreciate it.
airs, yeah, maybe once it airs, after it come out, maybe you can come back on the show and we can have a different conversation.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure.
well before you get out of here, I would like to invite you to play a game with us, and it's called 5 rounds, one punch.
Okay.
And pretty much what it is whatever I say to you, whether it be a phrase or whatever, we just want to get the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay. All right. I got you.
All right. 5 questions, 5 rounds. Ready?
All right, let's get it.
Round one. Bulls or bears?
Bulls.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Round two.
Say it
Dave
again. I
Hollister.
can't hear you.
Round two. You got me?
It's buffering a little bit.
Yeah.
That was getting good. He answered that first one real strong. Oh, I
Sure
was like,
did.
oh man, I thought I would been closer. Yeah,
No, it wasn't even. Look at the era he came up in.
yeah, true.
You back, champ? Champ, you back?
I think I'm in by myself.
No, we're still
You
here.
hear us? We still here. Hope it ain't cut him out, did it?
No, he's still. I can still see him. Nope, it's
Oh,
buffering.
it's buffering. Oh, okay.
It's his. It might be his connection though.
Oh, there you
Champ,
go.
you got us?
Uh, yeah, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let me hurry up and get these in while they still let us talk. Round round two. Aaron Hall or R. Kelly?
Come on, don't ask that. I can't say R. Kelly. I don't know who Hall is, but I'm gonna say Aaron Hall.
I love it.
Okay.
All right. All right. Man,
I
I
mean,
know.
that is, but
Okay. I'm trying to vet these questions. All right. Round three. Black Panthers or NWA?
WA.
I can't even be mad at you. I can't. I can't. This will be more your era. All right. Round four. Giordano's Illuminati's.
Yeah, Illuminati trash.
Oh, he says
You know
trash.
what? We're on the same page. I appreciate you. I appreciate you right there. I love Giordano's. Last question.
Illuminati's not it.
Last question. Round five. Layla Ali or Clarissa Shields?
Class all day, all year, every day, every
Thank you.
week, every
Thank,
hour, every minute.
thank
Clarence.
you for having the courage to say that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he answered that straightforward too.
You
He didn't
sure
think about
did.
that one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
That ain't no question.
So it's interesting though. I should have thought about the era you came up in before I asked the question about Bulls or Bears, because the Bears ain't really been nothing since you've been alive.
No, they won a Super Bowl since he's been alive.
I mean,
What
I
year were
didn't
you
been to
born?
the
Well, I mean, they
Super
didn't
Bowl.
win. They went. I'm sorry, they didn't win it. They went. My
Yeah.
bad. My
Not
Come on,
bad.
man. Indianapolis
But
beat them.
but I'm a big basketball fan anyway. I don't really watch
Okay.
Oh,
football.
okay.
Basketball is my favorite sport before my dad made me box.
Oh, okay. So who gonna replace
Like I
Derrick
play
Rose, man?
basketball. I play basketball. I play basketball like literally like every day. When we ain't like quarantine and shit.
Okay, so if we do a boxing basketball tournament 1-on-1, you down to show up?
Oh, of course.
Now you know my little brother said he the best boxing basketball player out there. So I've been trying to put together this tournament for a while. So we
Who?
gonna get it together. Lubin.
Nah, Lubin is he damn near is. I ain't even say I'm the best. I just basketball like my favorite sport. I'm a shooter. I like to play. I like to play full court 5-on-5 because I be in shape and can't nobody outrun me. Catching the ball
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
shooting it.
All right,
Wow.
that's what's up.
Wow. Hey man, I
Nah, but
got
Lubin nice.
Yeah,
okay.
he say he
He
could
used to
go. He be
play
on
all
his.
the time when we was on
Yeah.
the. Nah, he is. We was on the team that we used to play.
Oh, okay. All right. He talk that trash like he the shit. I'm like, all right, bro. So I
Nah,
guess I
he
got
a
to give him a
killer.
little
He
credit.
can play. Bud can play too.
Bud can hoop too. Okay. All right.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, hey. That'd be a good game though.
Yeah. We're gonna try to
Matter of
make that
fact,
tournament happen, man.
I lost $10 because I lost $10 when he was in the celebrity game because I bet he was gonna be MVP because I knew he could hoop.
And you lost him, but yeah.
They ain't giving. I don't blame him though. They ain't giving him no. They ain't giving him no tip. They ain't let him. They ain't let him pull out. So,
They let him show out. Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right.
I was gonna ask the traditional Chicago question, Cubs or White Sox, but just something told me leave that alone.
now I'm
He
from
going with the
Southside.
White Sox
So
anyway. Yeah. He going with the Sox
yeah, I'm from
regardless.
Southside.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna be a
But
wasted question.
I was happy when they won. So, 'cause I'm Chicago.
But
Everything. So,
now I noticed though, when the Cubs won, it was like the city exploded. When the White Sox won it, they just kind of celebrated on the South Side.
no, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I guess
I
I
mean, it's
just
a lot of Cubs fans. One of my friends, he a Cubs fan. He from Southside.
wow. Okay. I know Cubs fans, they always seem, they wear it. White Sox fans kind of look treacherous. Got the cap twisted.
Man, you gotta chill. All right, champ. Look, before we get out of here, man, we just want to know if you can give us a drop. Just let everybody know who you are and what show you tuned in on, and we'll let you get up out of here if you can do that for us, bro.
Yeah. This Kenneth Sims. Kenneth Sims Jr. My dad be wanted me to say Jr. So it's Kenneth Sims Jr. Uh, just
The
I don't even
beatdown.
know what to say for real. I just got stuck.
No, you
This is
good,
Kenneth
bro.
Sims Jr. This is Kenneth Sims Jr. watching the beat. Make sure you tune in every time they got a show because it's my first time talking to him, but I like it. They're cool. Great show
Appreciate
y'all
it.
do.
Appreciate it, champ.
Appreciate it, Jan.
And get throw out your social media right quick so everybody know where they can follow you at, bro.
You can follow me on Instagram, Kenneth Sims Jr. I can put it at Kenneth Sims Jr. Facebook. It's Kenneth Sims Jr. Everything is Kenneth Sims Jr. Who's that? Add me, follow me on all that. I was posting updates about the documentary, about fights, everything. I'll get back going.
All right, champ. Well, listen, man. Congratulations, man. Great job in the career, man. Great job with the documentary. We're proud of you, brother. Stay safe, stay Rona free, man. And when that drop, man, come back and give us some more of your time, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
Thank
peace.
you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Wow, bro. That was a good interview. He's a good dude.
Yeah, you're a good kid, man. You're a good
He's a
kid.
good dude. I mean, you can tell he's a shy guy.
Yeah, he's
Um,
bashful. Yeah, he's still warming up to the camera a little bit.
but I love the fact that he thinks about what he's going to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's a very even keel kid too. Even when
Yeah.
his responses, he never really kind of, he was always kind of right there. I can respect that.
Yeah, I was very good interview, bro.
Yeah, no, I did. It's crazy because I knew that him and Eric Brown were close. I didn't know they were that close. So I really didn't mean to conjure up any emotions like that. That's not what I was trying to do. But man, some nuggets there. I'm pretty sure he got stories he can last a lifetime, man.
Yeah, man. And you can tell it's still fresh.
Yeah.
It's still fresh. But hey, we do what we do. We're called to ask questions. We don't always know how the response is going to be. Just think what I asked Austin Trout about black women. I had no idea that his wife wasn't. So, 1 for 1 now. I got one out there, you got one out there. Good job, Badger.
We are not the same. I just want you to know that is
Good
not the
job,
same.
Badger.
But all right, I'll take that one, bro. You absolutely correct. I'll take that one.
Oh my goodness. Listen, this has been a ride. It's been a great evening. Um, I just want to say shout out to all the Fighter Share Nation. Thank y'all for getting in the Beatdown with us. It's becoming a really good show. You guys are becoming interactive. We appreciate you. We really appreciate you. So we thank you. And I'm gonna turn it over to the Badger to say what he got to say, and then we're gonna get out of here.
Man, make sure y'all log into the Beatdown, man. Check us out every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fighter Share Report on Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m., man. Other than that, that's all we got. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.